My wife continues enabling her entitled mom and sister despite multiple betrayals and broken boundaries. After years of disrespect, I gave a final ultimatum. She seemed to change until I caught her sneaking them in behind my back. I've consulted a lawyer and am planning my exit. When my wife and I bought our first home, I thought it was going to be the beginning of a new chapter. Fresh start, just the two of us, building our life together. Instead, it became the launch pad for her family's full-scale invasion. The day we moved in, her mom, Linda, showed up 2 hours early. Not to help, just to supervise. She immediately criticized the layout, the color of the walls, even the type of plants in the yard. Oh, you didn't get hardwood floors? Carpets trap so much dust. This neighborhood doesn't feel very safe at night. You should have asked me before buying. I know a better realtor. I bit my tongue. I chalked it up to her being opinionated. But then her sister, Emily, arrived and started claiming rooms, not just guest preferences, literal, "I'll be taking this one when I stay over" claims. She walked into our guest room, opened the closet and said, "I'll need space for my stuff here." We'd been in the house for less than 12 hours. It didn't stop there. Within the first month, Linda and Emily had slept over 4 separate times. Each time it was unplanned. They'd drop by and somehow end up staying the night. One night, Emily arrived at 8 p.m. saying she was too tired to drive back. She lived 20 minutes away. When I tried to bring it up to my wife, she looked confused and said, "It's just for now. They're excited about the new house too. Our house, not their vacation home." This was the first actual fight. Emily had stayed over, again, and I woke up at 3 a.m. freezing. She'd set the thermostat to 64 degrees. I changed it back. In the morning, she passive-aggressively said, "Some of us sleep hot." I snapped a little, not proud of it. I said, "You don't live here. Stop touching things like you do." Wife was furious, not at her sister, at me. "You embarrassed her. She's our guest." I said guests don't overstay welcomes or treat someone else's home like their own. She said I was overreacting. That's when I started realizing we weren't on the same team. Thanksgiving. We offered to host. My idea, stupidly, trying to win points. That turned it into Linda demanding to take over the menu. "Oh, honey, you're not doing boxed stuffing, right? And we need real mashed potatoes, not instant." Then Emily showed up with her dog, which she never asked about. The dog promptly peed on our rug. They stayed 3 nights, left dirty dishes, moved furniture, and complained about our low water pressure. When they left, I said never again. My wife said, "You're being dramatic." This is when it went from annoying to invasive. I checked our joint savings one day and saw a withdrawal I didn't recognize, $500 labeled gift. Turns out my wife gave her sister $500 to help with rent, without telling me. From our account, I confronted her. She said, "It's family. She was in a tough spot." I said, "You don't get to play Robin Hood with our savings without talking to me." She started crying, said I was cold. It wasn't about the money. It was about the disrespect, the lack of communication, the creeping realization that I didn't have a partner. I had a middlewoman for her family. I pushed for couples counseling. We went, once. The therapist gently said we needed boundaries. That family support shouldn't come at the cost of a marriage. That enabling behavior can be harmful, even if it's well-intentioned. My wife nodded through it all, seemed to take it in. That night, she cried in bed and said therapy made her feel like a bad daughter. I asked, "What about being a wife?" She didn't answer. My 30th birthday. I had simple plans. Hang with a few friends, cook out back, beers and music. Laid back. Her family came uninvited. Linda said, "We're family? Of course we're coming." Emily brought 2 friends I didn't know and commandeered the speaker. Played obnoxious music, got wasted, broke a chair, and laughed about it. My friends left early. I was humiliated. My wife just kept saying, "I'll talk to them later." She never did. After a particularly bad weekend, Emily had taken my wife's car without asking. Andre turned it with an empty tank. I exploded. I told my wife I couldn't do it anymore, that her family treated me like a doormat and she just watched. She apologized. It felt sincere, said she understood, that she'd set boundaries. 2 days later, I came home to find Linda in our kitchen, reorganizing our pantry. When I asked what she was doing, she said, "Your wife said it was fine. Back to square one." I sat my wife down, said we needed real boundaries, no more unannounced visits, no more money without discussion, no more staying over every other weekend. She looked heartbroken, said, "But they're my family." I said, "And I'm your husband." She got quiet, then said the sentence that's haunted me since, "Maybe you're just not cut out to be in a close family. We're still together, but we're roommates, not partners. I feel like I'm living in a house I paid for but don't control. Like I'm sharing a marriage with 4 people, not 1. Linda still shows up. Emily still borrows money. My wife still defends it all. I'm tired. So tired. I haven't filed for divorce. Not yet. But every time I see their names on my caller ID, I move 1 inch closer to the edge. I don't know what to do anymore. After the pantry incident, I took a few days to cool down. I told myself maybe this could still be salvaged if we kept finances strictly separated moving forward. We agreed. Joint account for bills only. Everything else would be split into personal accounts. Fast forward a few weeks. I'm checking the joint account to make sure the mortgage cleared, and I notice another transfer to her sister, this time $200, labeled wellness. I asked my wife. She said Emily needed a massage and some stress relief after a breakup. I was stunned. I said, "So, she has emotional stress and we pay for her spa day?" She said, "Don't be cruel." It wasn't cruelty. It was exhaustion. One morning, I went to take my car to work. It wasn't in the driveway. I called my wife in a panic, thought it was stolen. She casually says, "Oh, Emily needed it. I told her she could borrow it." No one told me. No text. No heads up. She just gave away my car for the day to someone with a DUI on record. I ended up Ubering to work while my wife acted like I was being overly possessive of my own vehicle. This wasn't a marriage. This was shared custody of my own property. Linda and Emily dropped by while I was working. From home, I had a Zoom call in progress and was sitting on our main couch, headset on. Emily walks in, stands in front of me, and asks me to move. Says she wants to stretch out. I told her I was working. She said I could take it to the bedroom. Linda chimed in, "You don't have to be so rigid." I actually laughed out loud, asked if they were serious. They were. My wife later told me I was being hostile. I told her I felt like a guest in my own damn home. I called the therapist myself and booked another round of couples sessions. This time, I asked if we could focus more on setting firm boundaries. The therapist gently asked my wife how she defined healthy support from her family. My wife said, "Being there for each other, no matter what." I said, "But it's not mutual. You're there for them. I'm just there," my wife cried. The therapist nodded, but nothing changed. My wife left her iPad open on the kitchen counter while she showered. A text thread popped up between her and Emily. I didn't snoop. It was open. I glanced. What I saw made my stomach drop. Emily. "He's being a dick again. Just ignore him like always." My wife. "Yeah, I'm over trying. He just doesn't get how close families work." Emily. "Don't let him isolate you like Dad did to Mom." My wife. "He can threaten divorce all he wants. He won't do it." I hadn't threatened divorce, but I'd thought about it, and they knew. I bought a small lockbox and put it in our closet, just for important documents, passport, car title, house deed copies, etc. Emily found it. How do I know? She told my wife it was suspicious and made a joke about me hiding cash or drugs. I was livid. I asked my wife point blank, "Did you tell her what's in it?" She said, "No, but she's just curious. You don't have to be so paranoid. It's not paranoia when people go through your things. It's self-protection." That night, I told my wife the truth. I said, "If this doesn't stop, the uninvited visits, the money lending, the car borrowing, the zero privacy, I'm leaving." She cried, not because she was surprised, but because she knew I meant it. She said, "But they'll think I'm abandoning them." I said, "You already abandoned me." She didn't argue, just sat there. Over the next few weeks, something changed. The visits stopped. The texts from Linda and Emily dropped off, or at least they weren't shared with me anymore. We even had 2 weekends completely to ourselves. First time in forever. I asked if she'd talk to them. She said yes. I told them I need space. For us. It felt like we'd turned a corner. I let my guard down. Then one Friday, I came home early. From work. Linda and Emily were in the living room, eating takeout, watching TV. I stood in the doorway for a full minute before anyone noticed. My wife came out of the bedroom and froze. I didn't say anything, just left. Drove until I ran out of gas and had to turn back. When I got home, they were gone. My wife had left a note. "I'm sorry. I didn't know how to tell you. I haven't filed yet, but I've spoken to a lawyer. I've written a letter. I've looked at apartments. I've mapped out what a life alone would look like. Peaceful. Predictable. Mine." My wife keeps apologizing, but the damage is deep now. It's not just about her family anymore. It's about trust, about identity, about dignity. I love her, I do, but love doesn't survive in a house full of invaders. Update, hey Reddit. Thought I owed an update since a lot of you asked how things turned out after my last post. So here it is. I left. It wasn't a blow-up. It wasn't cinematic. It was heartbreakingly quiet. After catching my wife sneaking her mom and sister into the house behind my back, after months of me practically begging for boundaries, something in me just shut off. The little hope I was holding on to finally gave up. I waited 3 days, not to cool off, just to observe, to see if she'd come clean, to see if she'd take initiative. Say, "Let's talk. I messed up." She didn't. We ate dinner in silence, slept back to back, pretended things were fine. I think she knew. That weekend, I packed a few bags while she was at a family brunch. Yeah, they were still the priority to the end. Left a handwritten letter on the counter. Nothing angry, just honest. I tried. For years I tried. But I don't want to keep feeling like a stranger in my own home, or like a third wheel in my own marriage. I love you, but I can't live like this. Please don't contact me unless it's about paperwork. I moved into a short-term rental the next day. Filed for divorce that week. She texted once. Just said, "I didn't think you'd actually do it." I didn't respond. Later, through a mutual friend, I heard that she told her family I abandoned her, that I was controlling and never liked them anyway. I won't lie, that stung. But it also confirmed what I already knew. I wasn't her partner. I was a placeholder, a buffer between her and adulthood. To answer a few questions. People asked in comments, "Why did you stay so long?" I asked myself that too. Part of it was hope. Part of it was love. And honestly, part of it was fear. Fear that leaving meant I'd failed, or that I was being too rigid. But staying wasn't kindness. It was self-erasure. Was she always like this? Not at first. Or maybe I just didn't see it. The early days were great. But once we moved in together, the lines blurred fast. I kept thinking things would go back to normal. But this was normal for her. Chaos was her comfort zone. You miss her? Yes. I miss who I thought she was. I miss the moments that felt real. But I don't miss feeling small. I don't miss being outnumbered in my own life. Any regrets? I regret not standing up for myself sooner. But I don't regret leaving. Where I am now, I'm in a tiny one-bedroom. It's quiet. No one moves my stuff. No one drops by unannounced. No one touches the thermostat but me. It's lonely sometimes, but it's peaceful. And for the first time in years, I feel like I belong in my own space. I'm in therapy. I'm learning that love without boundaries isn't love. It's codependence. I'm also learning how to rebuild trust in myself. Because for a long time, I stopped trusting my own instincts. To everyone who commented, "Thank you. You made me feel sane, less alone, like I wasn't crazy for wanting basic respect." Some of you were blunt, painfully so, but I needed it. It snapped me out of the fog. One person said something that stuck with me. "You're not asking for too much. You're just asking the wrong person." Yeah, that hit hard.